Hey, what's up, everybody? NFL has finished. The Super Bowl is over, and unfortunately, football is going to be gone until next August/September. So, it will full all NBA slate for the rest of the foreseeable future. Going over yesterday, had some ones that hit, had some ones that did exactly as I said. I'll go over my Super Bowl picks and a couple of NBA picks I gave yesterday. Man, Cooper Kupp. They didn't decide to start using him until the final drive, apparently. I thought for sure with Odell out, they were just going to start force-feeding him the ball, and they didn't until the final possession of the game. So he falls just a few yards short of my lock of the day yesterday. So that's a bummer. Matthew Stafford, as I expected, threw up a lot of passes yesterday. Even though they continued to try to run the ball yesterday with Cam Akers, Matthew Stafford got his pass attempts. So that hit. Cam Akers went way under. Like I said, that Bengals rush defense was really elite. Odell Beckham, before he got injured, hit his longest catch and his total yardage. His longest catch. I believe he hit his fantasy points. If you picked Odell's longest catch, he went over on his, and that's what I said to go over on his longest catch yesterday. Van Jefferson got targets, just didn't get the deep shot I thought he was going to get. Joe Mixon went over on his longest run. He needed a 14-yard long run, and he got 14 yards. Samaje Perine ended up getting 2 carries, but he didn't get any yards out of it. He got like 0. I kind of feel fleeced out of the CJ Uzomah pick because I didn't know he wasn't going to be playing, basically, or he was only going to be run blocking. Had I known that, I wouldn't have even brought up CJ Uzomah because I thought he was going to be playing the game. As far as Jamar Chase goes, I think he went over in his yards because I think he had finished with 89. I think he was set at like 77 or something like that. T. Higgins didn't get the catches, got the big bomb though. Tyler Boyd really just didn't get that involved. And Joe Burrow ended up not getting that scramble like I thought he was going to. They obviously got a lot of pressure on him, but he didn't get out of the pocket that well. So that was my Super Bowl slate. Some good picks, some things that didn't happen the way I thought they would. As far as my NBA picks, though, yesterday, only 2 games yesterday, and 2 of my guys, one got injured in the first quarter, so Duarte didn't get anywhere close to his points, and Cat got in foul trouble. But Cat managed to get 29 PRA in 19 minutes of play. You have to think that if Cat would have played the entirety of that game without penalty or without fouls, he would have destroyed that line. D'Angelo Russell ended up going over his points. Jason Tatum ended up having the big scoring night yesterday, not Jaylen Brown, and Trae Young ended up going a little bit crazy to start the game, and he hit his PRA. So let's get today. And of course, Demar Derozan. My lock of the day today, Demar Derozan, over 32.5 points. They finally said, you know what, this guy's been smacking his line every single game. Let's give him a little bit of a bump. And I'm not scared. I'm still not scared. 32.5 points. Obviously, the Spurs are not the greatest defensive team either. That's why this game is like total points is set so high. Between DeMar DeRozan and Dejounte Murray, they're just going to be going back and forth with it. Zach LaVine is out. That's also another reason why his line is set so high. But I love it. I mean, DeMar DeRozan has just been unstoppable. I think 6 straight 30-plus point games. No one on this Spurs team has the defensive ability or presence to be able to stop DeMar DeRozan. It's my lock of the day. DeMar DeRozan over 32.5 points. As long as he keeps hitting, I might just have him be my lock of the day every single time he plays, but we'll see how it goes. All right, first up, we got an 11-game slate today, so going to be throwing a lot of stuff at you guys. First game of the day is Pistons-Wizards. They played recently on December 8th. It was a 119-116 overtime win for the Wizards. Stats from that game, Kuzma had 26 points. Bradley Beal, of course, they don't have Bradley Beal now, 25. KCP had 13 in that game. I know a lot of people like to go under on KCP. Jeremy Grant was the main guy for the Pistons. He had 28. Isaiah Stewart, I know that's a hot rebound line. He had 11 points, 10 rebounds. Cade Cunningham had 21. And Sadiq Bey only managed to get 7 that game. How this goes matchup-wise, man, the Wizards are in a little bit of shambles right now. They have not been playing very good basketball of late. Guards have been getting kind of whatever they wanted against the Wizards. De'Aaron Fox had 26. Cam Thomas had 27. Kyrie had 31. And Tyrese Maxey had 22 and 7. You have to think that Cade, they've got his points set at 16.5 right now, can have a pretty successful night tonight, as history shows for the last couple of games for the Wizards defense. As far as their success against bigs, Domantas Sabonis, 16 and 11, 20 and 16 from Ayton, and 27 and 14 for Embiid. Currently, they got Isaiah Stewart set at 8.5 rebounds. That's probably going to have to be the best line from this game because 8.5 rebounds for Isaiah Stewart. He's been crushing that lately. Like I said, the last couple of good rebounding bigs they've played in a row here have had really good success rebounding the basketball. So I'd have to say over on Isaiah Stewart's rebounds. Things have been scary, though, and even worse for the Pistons in their last couple of games. out of their last 5 games, they've been blown out 3 of the last 5 times, big time. They got blown out by Charlotte, blown out by the Grizzlies, blown out by the Mavs. Kind of a closest game to the Wolves is 118 to 105, and a closer game to Boston, which was 102 to 93. But I'm pretty sure Boston was up 20 at one point in that game. They just subbed out all their guys. So I think that game was actually a blowout again. They just kind of got close at the end, and the score doesn't show what that game really was. Success versus the Detroit defense, though. Terry Rozier, 25, 11, and 10. LaMelo had 31, 12 assists. Ja Morant had 23. Desmond Bane had 22. Luka had 33, 11, and 7. D'Angelo Russell had 22. Those are elite level guards, right? Elite scorers. Obviously, the Wizards don't have an elite guy at the guard position, so there's no lines that really help us out in that situation. But bigs having success against Detroit has also been a problem for them. Mason Plumlee had 7 points, 10 rebounds. Steven Adams had 16 and 14. Cat had 29 and 12. Robert Williams had 11 and 11, and Jason Tatum had 24 and 10. So you'd have to think Kuzma's going to have himself a pretty good night tonight. As far as my favorite line for Kuzma, it'd probably have to be his points set at 21.5. He managed to get 28 last time around, 26 last time around. He's been playing all right recently since he's become this number 1 scoring option. So Kuzma probably my best Wizards line. Next up at 6:30, we got Thunder versus the Knicks. They played this year. It was a 95 to 80 high school scoring game there, really low scoring affair. The Knicks didn't have Randle in that one, so RJ with him by himself had 26. Mitchell Robinson had 9 points, 12 rebounds. Not even gonna bring up Thunder lines because basically everyone had like double digits. There was no like guy that kind of shined ahead of the rest. All right, now we're looking at past performances versus the Thunder. Basically, everyone eats versus the Thunder. Anticipate Julius Randle to have a massive game tonight. I'd lean toward his points more than anything. Obviously, he's probably going to get a lot of rebounds. Vucevic had 15 boards. Joel Embiid had 19. Pascal Siakam had 16. Maurice Harkless had 11. Like, bigs or bigger guys down low get the boards on the on the Thunder. So anticipate Randle to have a pretty big game, but I'd go with his points above anything. Guards have also had a lot of success versus the Thunder. Tyrese Maxey, 24. Fred VanVleet, 21. Curry and Poole combined for 18 assists. And then Harrison Barnes, not really a guard, I know, but he had 24 and 9 for a bigger scorer that can kind of help towards the Randle case. Kemba Walker, I know, hasn't put up a whole lot of points lately. Against Portland, he had 23, which is kind of the best game he's had in quite some time. It kind of could be pick and choosing, honestly, though, between these guys. Obviously, Fournier is the most consistent of these guys as far as the guards for the Knicks. So I'd go Fournier's points, which is set at 16.5. That'd be the best scoring line. And I'm only saying this just because there's been kind of a lot of recent success for guard scoring against the Thunder. But if you have to go with a Knick line, it has to be Julius Randle. As far as the Knicks go, they've actually played really good interior defense. I'm sure that has a lot to do with Mitchell Robinson. But guards have had their way. Just a couple of recent games. Anthony Simons had 30. Josh Hart had 23. Steph Curry had 35. Desmond Bane had 22. Guards have kind of had their way. So I would lean a little bit towards Giddey's assists once again. It's set at 6.5. I mean, he's got to get around 7. 15.5 points is his points right now. Hasn't really gotten to that range recently. But if you have to do an OKC line, the only one that makes sense with how the Knicks have been playing of late, it has to be Giddey over on his assists. All right, Sacramento, Brooklyn. This one gets a little bit confusing because Kyrie, of course, isn't playing because the game's in Brooklyn. This is probably one of those games I'm going to want you guys to stay away from. Brooklyn has lost 11 straight games. 11. And then in the last 2 games between the Heat and the Wizards, 7 guys for both squads scored more than 10 points. So it's kind of just been just whoever offense on whoever, really, versus Brooklyn. Like, anybody's been able to get whatever they wanted versus Brooklyn. No, like, monster performances of late. I mean, it's just really guys, just everybody's getting their own, really, when it comes to facing Brooklyn. So I know, like, Harrison Barnes got a line. Domantas Sabonis got a line. De'Aaron Fox has got a line. The line I'd probably like the most in this game because Brooklyn lacks that interior presence. This one also kind of depends. I know Andre Drummond and the boys are supposed to make their debut tonight. If Andre Drummond plays tonight, don't go over on Domantas Sabonis rebounds because obviously Andre Drummond's a much better presence inside. If he doesn't play, definitely go over on Sabonis' rebounds. if Andre Drummond does end up playing, let's just go over on De'Aaron Fox's points. No perimeter defense for the Brooklyn Nets either. They're just in shambles right now. So I'm staying away from all Brooklyn lines. There's only just a handful of them out right now. But if you have to go with a Kings line, best one would be De'Aaron Fox over 23.5 points. Portland, Milwaukee. Another one of these teams that's been blown up with trades. Portland. I believe Giannis is doubtful tonight, so that looks like that Milwaukee's going to try to rest this game. They're not really too worried about Portland, as they shouldn't be. As far as it goes for lines in this one, again, this is one I kind of want you guys to stay away from. Anthony Simons has been a little bit up and down of late as far as Portland goes. Portland has just been not playing well. Obviously, trading a guy like CJ McCollum and stuff like that, it puts a little bit of a dent into a team. A guy that I like in here, which might be a little bit surprising to some of you guys, Josh Hart had 23 points in his debut. They've got him set at 15.5 points right now. This one would be one worth looking at. I know Josh Hart isn't exactly the greatest scorer in the world, but now that CJ McCollum's gone, it's kind of Anthony Simons, Josh Hart is the best two scorers on this team. So Josh Hart is kind of the number 2 guy when Anthony Simons isn't on the floor. So I like Josh Hart over on his 15.5 points. As far as Anthony Simons goes, though, I know last 2 games he played, he had 30 points, 29 points. That was against the Lakers, horrible perimeter defense, and the Knicks, as we just talked about, horrible perimeter defense. So obviously Milwaukee doesn't have bad perimeter defense. But this game's still up in the air a lot because Milwaukee's kind of seeing if they can probably rest some guys tonight versus Portland. So my favorite line from this game is probably going to be Josh Hart's 15.5 points. Okay, the big game tonight. San Antonio Spurs versus Chicago Bulls. This one should be bananas. This one's going to go absolutely crazy. All right, big thing, like we got to keep in mind. We've been doing this lately, looking at the total over/under that this game's projected to get on the sportsbook. FanDuel right now has the game at over/under 234. So in a perfect world, like a 117 game, right? This is a game that's gonna have a whole lot of scoring.
Sorry, I didn't mean to slam it.
Anyways, line I like the most from this game. I mean, it has to be. I can't even say it's one that I like more than the other. It just has to be Dejounte Murray over 41.5 points, rebounds, assists. He's been bumped. Without Derek White in the lineup, I'm telling you guys, he is the offense. He's the entirety of this operation. And what are the Chicago Bulls so bad at? It's perimeter defense. Dejounte Murray, once again, you could go points, rebounds, assists. You could go points. I'm going to go Dejounte Murray over 41.5 points. This is probably, if I could do 2 locks of the day, this would be my lock of the day, Dejounte Murray. But yeah, every single reason for you to do this, when players are hot and they're playing well, there's no reason to not go with them. So over on Dejounte Murray's PRA versus the Chicago Bulls. Next up at 7, Toronto, New Orleans. Now, Toronto obviously has been playing really good basketball of late. And the New Orleans Pelicans, we can see these last 2 games with CJ McCollum are notably much better of a team. But the Raptors are great at everything right now. They're doing everything really well. They're playing a lot like the Boston Celtics. They have a guy that's really leading the way in Pascal Siakam. Fred VanVleet can score whenever he wants. Gary Trent can score whenever he wants. They've got a lot of length. They're kind of like a more mature, more veteran Cavaliers team, right? Just really big, got their shooters, got a really good point guard, an all-star point guard. Then you look at the Pelicans. Obviously, they got much better with adding CJ McCollum like that and stuff like that. Jonas Valanciunas is a pretty good presence inside. Here's the thing with this game. I'm tentative to stay away from the Pelicans because Toronto has such great defense. I'm worried that CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum's going to be matched up with Fred VanVleet or Gary Trent, 2 great perimeter defenders, or Brandon Ingram's going to be on Scotty Barnes, OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, all 3 of those guys, really great defenders. I think I'm going to, I try to give you guys at least 1 pick from each team. If I had to go with one for the Pelicans, it would probably be CJ McCollum's points at 20.5, just because, he's been playing great in his last 2 matches, or his first 2 games with the Pelicans at 15, and then he had 36 last game. He's playing upwards of 37 to 38 minutes per game. And I just think Brandon Ingram's going to have a lot of struggles tonight getting into the paint, getting good shots off because of the perimeter, because of that interior defense by Scotty Barnes, OG Anunoby, those guys. And then my favorite line for the Raptors has to be Pascal Siakam over in his points, rebounds, assists. He's been rebounding like a maniac. He's been playing really well right now. He's kind of like Derozen right now. He's not necessarily dropping 30-point games, but he's just been playing really well at an MVP caliber type level right now. His team's playing really well. The Raptors look really good right now. My favorite Raptors line is going to be Pascal Siakam over on his 36.5 PRA. As long as they continue to keep him under that 39 to 38 range for Pascal Siakam, I'm going to keep going over on that PRA. And just a little heads up, sometimes, especially with teams like the Pelicans that added players or have a lot has happened with trades and stuff like that, I'm not going to necessarily go back and look at their history, because if a team is way different than they were the prior time they played, I'm obviously not going to really take that into account. I'm just going to look at how they've played recently. So some of these games, not every single game am I going to go back and say, hey, this is how they did in their last matchup. Obviously, because if a team's very different, I'm not going to tell you guys, oh, last time the score was 100 to 107 and this person went off and he's not even on that team anymore, you know what I mean? So that's why some games are quicker, some games I just like at the lines and I like the matchups better and stuff like that. So I just thought I'd tell you that real quick. Houston and Utah, the 8 o'clock game. This is an example of a game I can go over a lot better, because they are two West teams, play each other a few times throughout the course of the year. Teams haven't changed all that much, aside from Joe Ingles, really. Most recent matchup, January 19th, it was a 116 to 111 Houston win. Jazz were without Donovan Mitchell, but they did have Rudy Gobert. The leading scorer was Garrison Matthews for the Rockets. Christian Wood also had 13 and 15 in that one. Kevin Porter Jr. had 15 and 8, 15 points, 8 rebounds. And Bohan led the way for the Jazz with 29 points. Royce O'Neal grabbed 15 rebounds in that game, and Rudy Gobert had 23 and 9. Now, I heard that Rudy Gobert went through shoot around and stuff this morning, so it sounds like Rudy Gobert is on track to play tonight. If he does, probably go over on his rebounds. He's had pretty good success. If it's up before I post this video, I'll put it here. But he's had pretty good success against the Rockets as far as rebounding goes. We're averaging right about 12 rebounds a game versus the Rockets, who have, Christian Wood's a pretty good center, but he's not a dominant rebounding center. And then after that, they really don't have much. Looking at the lines, though, my favorite Rocket line is going to have to be Kevin Porter Jr. He has been playing very well of late. Last 2 games, 27. Game before that, 30. 8 assists, 5 assists. Kind of been dishing out the ball really well. Kind of a Dejounte Murray, just not with as good players around him. His PRA is set at 23.5. I think this is pretty attainable for him. He's playing around 35 to 33 minutes a game, which is exactly what we want. In their last matchup, he had 15 and 8 when it was a close game, and the Jazz were relatively healthy, just didn't have Donovan Mitchell. So tonight, obviously, they'll have Donovan Mitchell and may or may not have Rudy Gobert. So my favorite Rockets line is Kevin Porter Jr.'s 23.5 points, rebounds, and assists. As far as Jazz lines, if Rudy Gobert ends up playing this game, I want to go Rudy Gobert. Obviously, he's had pretty good success versus the Jazz, versus Houston in the past. So that'd be the best line to go with. But if we're going to go with guys that have had pretty good success versus the Rockets in the past, Bohan's averaging about 24 points per game versus the Jazz. Versus the Rockets. My bad, guys. I jumbling my words just a little bit. Versus the Rockets, he is averaging right around 24 points per game. His line is set at 19.5 right now. So Bohan, if they don't end up dropping a Rudy Gobert line, would be my favorite line versus for the Jazz versus the Rockets. Next up on the slate is Magic Denver. Gonna tell you guys right out the gate, this is probably one I want you to stay away from. Simply for the fact, I think the Nuggets are a lot better than the Magic. I think that the Nuggets could very easily run away with this one in a hurry. Now, their last matchup doesn't show that. Their last matchup on December 1st, so they did play of late, was a Nuggets 103 to Magic 108 Magic win. It looks like Denver got out to a really hot start. They were up big at half, and then it looks like they blew a lead, and the Magic were able to pull out with a win there. Jokic had 18, 15, and 7, so pretty good performance from Jokic on that rebounding side. Monte Morris ended up getting 22 points in that one. Aaron Gordon had 17 and 8. I know he's been having a couple of good performances in a row here, back to back. 19 points, 8 rebounds, 17 points, 6 rebounds, 13 points, 6 rebounds. They have his rebounds set at 5.5, so Aaron Gordon's rebounds could be one that's set at 15.5. Could be one that's pretty tempting. You have to get that 6 boards. He's got it in his last couple of matchups. The Magic are they're an average rebounding team. So Aaron Gordon's line would probably be the only one, really for both sides, that I'm messing with in this game, because Cole Anthony in their last matchup, he did have a pretty good game. Cole Anthony ended up having 24, 7, and 8. So he hit his PRA in their last matchup. But this is just one I'd want you guys to stay away from. The only one I really like from this game is Aaron Gordon's rebounds. Warriors, Clippers. Again, I don't like to bet on the Clippers until they find their identity, because it looked like they were finally starting to find it, right? Norman Powell was kind of getting in his rhythm. But now I think Norman Powell fractured his foot, and now he's out of the lineup again. So now the Clippers are back to how they used to be, which is super inconsistent. Any player, they're kind of a lot like the Thunder, right? They're more talented, obviously, than the Thunder, but there's no true identity on this Clippers team. So I like to stay away from the Clippers at all risks if I can, because I just don't like anybody really as far as putting up dominant stats consistently or putting up their stat lines consistently. So I'm staying away from the Clippers. And the Clippers just got demolished back-to-back games by Luka Doncic. So I have to think that Steph Curry is going to have a pretty good game tonight. He's set at 23.5 points. I know he has been passing the ball really well of late. 8 assists last game, 10 assists the game before that. I know he's been passing the ball really good lately. So his PRA wouldn't be a bad idea either, but I like Steph Curry's points the most in this game. All right, now what you guys have been waiting for, my top 5 picks, my top 5 favorite picks of the day, my top 5 picks to not mess with or go wonder on in the day. These are also, I wanted to mention these in no particular order. It's not like my top 5 favorite, from number 1 to 5. Obviously, my number 1 is my lock of the day because it's my favorite pick of the day. But after that, it's just kind of like ones I like. It's not in any particular order. Obviously, coming in at number 1, Demar Derozan, 32.5 points, 6 straight 30-point games. The Spurs lack defense. It's all the numbers show that Demar Derozan should have another monster game tonight. Without Zach LaVine, someone's got to pick up the scoring. That one's easy. DeMar DeRozan over 32.5 points. Coming in at number 2, because if I could do 2 locks of the day, it would be Dejounte Murray and DeMar DeRozan. Coming in number 2 is Dejounte Murray, over 41.5 PRA. Last 2 games, back-to-back 50 PRA games without Derek White. Again. So, over on Dejounte Murray, who and the Chicago Bulls also have suspect perimeter defense. Dejounte Murray, all the numbers show he's going to have a monster game as well. And at number 3, it's going to be Julius Randle of the New York Knicks. Without RJ Barrett, he plays really well. And he's going to be without RJ Barrett again tonight. OKC lacks interior defense, and they really don't have anybody to guard Randle. So, my third favorite pick of the day is Julius Randle over his points, 23.5. Coming in at number 4, it's going to be Isaiah Stewart's rebounds. If they put it this low, if they continue to put it this low, I'm just going to keep nuking it. 8.5 rebounds for Isaiah Stewart. In their last matchup, he had 10 rebounds. The Wizards have no true presence inside as far as having a dominant big, especially once Thomas Bryant goes off the floor. It's really Kyle Kuzma's next up best rebounder. So Isaiah Stewart over 8.5 rebounds. Let's nuke it. And rounding out the list at number 5, it's going to be coming from Toronto, New Orleans. Pascal Siakam over 36.5 rebounds and assists. This is going to be a good game between these two teams. Toronto has been playing really well of late. Pelicans got much better. Pascal Siakam has been leading the charge for the Toronto Raptors. He's going to have another big night tonight. Mark it up as my top 5. One quick honorable mention line to Aaron Gordon's 5.5 rebounds. Orlando. Once Mo Bamba and Wendell Carter get off the floor, no presence inside as far as rebounding goes. So I like Aaron Gordon's 5.5 rebounds. Coming in at number 1 for my under list / do not touch list, KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, has not had a good game in a very long time. Line is set at 12.5. His scoring line just keeps going until he finally has a good game. KCP, under 12.5 points, is my number 1 under pick of the day. Coming in at number 2, stay away from Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker is about as consistent as chopped up wood. Not smooth, you're going to get a splinter. Kemba Walker, stay away from him. They've got him set at 11.5 points. He had that 20-point game last game out, but really only playing around 20 to 25 minutes a game. Are you kidding me? Starting one guard? Yeah, I don't like that. Stay away from Kemba Walker. Coming in at number 3, not even going to put a player up right here. Just stay away from Brooklyn. Stay away from Brooklyn until they can get out of all this nonsense. They've got the trade that just happened. They've lost 11 straight games. KD and Ben Simmons and all them guys trying to get everything figured out. Stay away from Brooklyn by all means necessary. Coming in at number 4, stay away from Brandon Ingram. There's a reason they've got him set at 21.5 points. That's the lowest they've had him in quite some time. They know he's not going to get that much buckets versus the Toronto Raptors. Stay away from Brandon Ingram's 21.5 points. Number 5 to round out my list today. Stay away from, not even going to put players up here, stay away from the Clippers. No identity on this team, none whatsoever. Norman Powell has now been injured, so now they're going basically back to what they were before. Stay away from the Clippers. That's going to be today's video, guys. Thank you guys so much for all the support you've been showing. Just the other day, I haven't really been shouting you guys out that much. I've been trying to get a lot of information put down on these cards and stuff like that. Just a few days ago, we had 400 plus views. My Luka Doncic and Ja Morant video went bananas. Thank you guys so much. We have been steadily increasing. I think we're about as of last night when I went to bed, right around 50 something subscribers away from 200. So we are moving right along. Super excited. Hoping to just keep pushing out this content for you guys, and you guys keep enjoying. Yeah. Cat, I'll catch you guys in the next time. Peace.